A society to have order and to protect its citizens must have rules. Rules or laws are created and agencies are formed to enforce the rules. In the United States, you are innocent until proven guilty. Our judicial system, our courts, have the task of determining guilt. When guilt is found, the courts mete out the consequences. If we follow the rules of our society, we may never have to face the bar of justice inside a criminal courtroom. Join us now as we see an actual Lake County court in session.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Judge Miller. Could all of you, including visitors, please raise your right hands? Do each of you swear or affirm to tell the... Raise your right hands, please. Raise your right hand, please. Raise your other right hand. Thank you. Do each of you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and this you do under the pains and penalty of perjury? Okay, you can put your hands down. Each of you has a right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. When you get to the microphone, I need to know if you're under 18. I need to know if you're not a citizen of the United States. If you're not a citizen, pleading today could affect your immigration status. When you get to the microphone, I need to know if you're on probation or parole. If you're on probation or parole and you plead today, it could affect your probation or parole status. If you plead today, you're giving up your right to have a trial and to have an attorney represent you at that trial. If I sentence you on a criminal case today, you have to go to room 105 and either pay the mandatory costs or sign up for the payment plan. Those mandatory costs are in addition to anything we might do here. And the least the mandatory cost can be is $273. If you have a battery, it goes at least $700. Reginald Jackson to the microphone, please. Mr. Jackson, you have a public defender, right?
I don't know.
On the felony?
I guess.
You don't know?
I don't know.
Well, this says you do, although I don't know who it is. And since these charges, the leaving the scene of an accident and reckless driving, were part of that whole experience, they should all be up in felony court. So I think we should just appoint the public defender and let them work out a package deal.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we shall do that then. You're present, you're in custody, PD appointed, and we'll have them work that out. Thank you, sir. Daniel Dillard to the microphone, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Mr. Dillard. You're charged with driving while license suspended. And except for that Georgia situation, you are doing great. So how are you going to fix the Georgia situation?
It was also, I had a ticket from North Carolina, but it was on my national driver's record, which is why it's taking me so long. I have both tickets paid in North Carolina.
Do you think if we continue this for 3 months, you can come in here with a valid Florida driver's license?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Mr. Dillard is here with very nice manners. He's waiving speedy trial, and we're continuing this for 3 months. Defendant to get Florida DL.
9/11.
See it on 9/11 with a valid driver's license. Wait for your paperwork. Teresa Colexia. Oleksiak. Okay, Miss Oleksiak, you're charged with driving while license suspended. Do you have a valid driver's license?
No, I've been trying to take care of that. I didn't. I'd had an accident, I think it was about a year ago. I had paid the ticket on time, and I had elected.
Okay, stop. Okay, you're suspended for not paying 6 tickets in Orange County.
They're toll violations.
Oh, then you need,
I have.
Stop. Okay, you need to contact the toll office. They're trying to work with customers now to get people unsuspended. Do you have the number for the toll office?
Yes.
Okay, have you been in contact with them?
I have not been in contact with them, but
Okay, tell me what happened, how it is you got 6 toll violations. You have a transponder, or you went down the wrong roads that say sun pass only? What happened?
they were mostly getting to school. I didn't intentionally, it was a bad time. And
so you just went through knowing you were supposed to pay and didn't pay?
On 2 of them, I know I did. But I have stopped, though, and talked to the attendants as well, where you can get the little tickets that they hand
But
to
then you didn't pay it.
No, I couldn't.
Okay, so this is valid, you knew you weren't allowed to drive, but this is your first driving, oh no, it's your second. You just had one, oops. This is jail. You had a driving while license suspended in February. So when you got stopped for this one, you knew you were suspended.
Yes, but I had paid the toll violations. I have a receipt for that.
But you didn't reinstate your license.
No.
And you still haven't reinstated your license.
I haven't been able to with...
Then you weren't
I
allowed
just
to
needed-
drive.
No.
This is jail time.
I was wrong.
Miss Papula, someone who drives on a license for the same suspension. This is the second time she's been caught driving on the same suspension. That's jail time.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm sorry. My offers are off today. Sorry.
You can give that offer because if it's up to me, it's jail time. You may have seen something I didn't see. The states, did you know she had a prior on the same suspension? She's been suspended since October for not paying tolls. She got a driving while license suspended in Orange County. They made it a civil. And then she's now driving again, knowing she was suspended.
Yes, Your Honor. Sorry, I did miss that civil. Are you referring to, the May 12th? Like a couple weeks ago, or 3?
She was sentenced May 12th on the last one.
Yeah.
But it isn't when she got sentenced on it, it's when she got it, which was February 25th. So February 25th, the officer explains to her, you're suspended. She gets sentenced on it May 12th, and then she drives again May 20th, allegedly.
Sounds like...
And she still hasn't fixed it as of today.
No, I have been making every effort to.
But you weren't allowed to drive. So do you want to stand by your offer, which is way too generous, or do you want, it's 10 days ordinarily, or 5 days at the minimum, for someone who drives on a license suspended for the same suspension? All right, could you have a seat right there while the state looks this over to see if I missed something? Valerie Thomas to the microphone, please. Valerie Ann Thomas. I'm sorry, I misspoke your name. Valerie Ann Thomas.
Yes, ma'am.
You have an ID, not a driver's license. The good news is you've never had a citation on your Florida record before, but you know you're not allowed to drive because you don't even have a learner's permit.
I do. I'm licensed in the state of Indiana, ma'am.
So that's why they charged it as this. But now you live in Florida.
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you lived in Florida?
About 6 months.
And as soon as you moved to Florida, you had to change your driver's license.
Yes, ma'am.
And according to this, you're suspended.
Yes, ma'am. I wasn't aware of that either until he told me that.
This says you knew you were suspended. You got charged with knowing you were suspended and driving anyway. You should have gotten a Florida driver's license, and maybe you couldn't get one because of your suspension in wherever you said. And he says you gave him a false ID. What is that about?
There was a miscommunication.
I observed a tan vehicle, speed, stopped you for speeding, and we have a speeding ticket also. I made contact with the driver who did not produce a license. She stated she forgot it at home and was going there to retrieve it. I asked her name. She said her license was valid in Indiana. You gave him a false name, he's saying. I searched under that name, nothing came back. I asked her again. They fingerprinted her in the scanner. Wow. They have an on-the-scene scanner now?
Yes, ma'am.
For fingerprints? That's too cool. She finally provided me with her correct name. So you lied about your name, and when they ran your license in your name, they found out you were suspended. And that you have an ID card from Florida. All right, so these sound like two perfectly good charges. If you enter a no contest plea, I'd find you guilty. I'd put you on 6 months probation. You can get off of probation after you pay a $200 fine on each count.
Yes, ma'am, no contest.
If you get 3 driving while license suspended within a 5-year period, Tallahassee will take your license for 5 years.
Yes, ma'am.
Here's her print sheet. And then you have a speeding ticket. Have you ever had a speeding ticket before?
One other time.
Is that what's suspending you? And
I believe so. Well, with that speeding ticket, I went to court, traffic court, just like this, and they told me my name wasn't on the docket, and to just go home, and they would send me a notification in the mail.
If you enter a no contest plea for this speeding ticket, I would find you guilty. It's $206. You have until December 5th to pay. You may go to school to get the points off if you want to.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, we have a deal?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, I'm sorry. On the criminal case, can you add $105 cost of investigation to Leesburg? Yeah, it's on there.
Yes, we have that already. All right, you need to go to room 105 and sign up for the payment plan.
Yes, ma'am.
Joseph Carpenter. Mr. Carpenter. What does this mean? Is this vehicle registered in your name?
It is.
And your birthday is September?
That's right.
And September, October, November, December, January, February, March. So this was more than 6 months.
Let me see that.
It's expired registration.
Well, they charge it as an expired. It should be expired. I think the officer wrote it wrong. It should be expired tag. That's why he stopped him.
Okay, Miss Angie's telling me something I did not realize, that your first expired driver's tag over 6 months is reverted back to a civil when it's fixed. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Who said that?
Miss Angie. But he fixed it and it's expired tag, so why wouldn't we change it to a civil either which way?
I'm not aware of that policy.
Well, we did it on the other person, so can we just go ahead and do it on this person?
Okay, Your Honor.
Okay, so we're gonna, maybe it should have been a civil. If it wasn't, we're changing it to a civil, and then we're going to talk about insurance. This says you had no proof of insurance at the time you were stopped.
I had valid insurance. I didn't have the right card with me.
Do you have it now?
Sure.
May I see it, please?
Yes, ma'am. Would you like the original card, or would you like a copy of it that I brought?
I would like to see the card that was in effect
Yes,
on
ma'am.
May 22nd for Chevy utility vehicle, whatever. Okay, effective date March 4th, 4209. Okay, I'm dismissing the no proof of insurance. And the criminal charge we're changing to a civil.
Thank you.
And you'll have 6 months to pay. Wait for your paperwork. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, Christopher Caples. Mr. Drawdy, you're charged with driving while license suspended.
Yes, ma'am.
You have a CDL, and the only reason you got suspended is you wrote a check almost a year ago.
I didn't write the check, ma'am. I mean, my wife wrote the check. I don't know why they got my name on it, but anyway, I paid the check in January, and they told me everything was fine.
You had to reinstate, so you haven't reinstated yet.
Yeah, yesterday I got it reinstated.
Okay, you
I
have
got
your
my
valid license?
Yes, ma'am, I got my license.
You got your CDL back?
Right, you'll see them.
Could you show the prosecutor, please? Ms. Papula, he's saying his wife wrote a check but it's a joint checking account, and his name's first on it, so.
Yeah, that's why they charged me.
So they suspended his license, even though his
My
wife.
name was on top of the check first.
So.
It is valid. We could reduce it to a civil.
Okay.
And I've got these papers here from.
Okay, Mr. Drawdy, we're going to change this from a criminal charge to a civil charge that you didn't know your license was suspended because you didn't write the bad check. But you or your wife should have gotten a letter telling you were suspended.
Well, I never did.
Okay, if you enter a no contest plea, we'll change this from a criminal charge to a civil driving while license suspended. I will withhold a finding of guilt on a civil driving while license suspended, and it will only be $50 cost of prosecution. So you can go pay that at the traffic window, or if you need a payment plan, you can do a payment plan.
I can pay the 50 today.
50, okay. Miss Angie, it's only going to be $50 plus, oh, sorry.
Get my bill pulled out, so you gotta do it for me.
All right, we'll get you your paperwork as fast as we can.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, next we have Christopher Caples. And have you had a chance to look over hers? And we were going to decide whether it's our usual practice for 19 years to send her to jail, or whether, since we did talk about, that's what you wrote down, that we'll stick by it this time, and you'll double check next time. Okay, Mr. Caples, driving while license suspended. You had one earlier this year.
What?
You turned in your license and got an ID in April. So since April, you've known you were not allowed to drive. You only had an ID card.
Ma'am, I had a driver's license I gave to the police officer that arrested me.
This says you only had an ID. Since April 12th, you've only had an ID card.
When I was arrested, the Lake County kept my driver's license. I got my driver's license suspended for 12 points in 12 months from back in 2010. I haven't had a license since 2010. I just recently got my license back.
When?
In April, I believe. Mm-hmm. And they told me that I got.
Okay, March 4th, you got your license.
March.
And then April 12th, you got an ID card.
No, ma'am. I had a driver's license.
Did you get an ID card also April 12th?
No, ma'am.
Well, this says your license was canceled April 12th. All right, you got suspended April 10th for points. So the new license you got in March became suspended in April for points. And you got suspended May 8th for not having an SR22.
And, ma'am, I took the ADI class, and all I was able to do as far as SR22 goes, I got quotes.
Okay, stop talking for just a moment. Miss Angie, this one from April 12th, it says canceled indefinitely, DL expired, but he had just renewed it in March. This says you got an ID card April 12th.
I don't believe I did. I think at one time I lost my license. I went back to get my driver's license. I lost my driver's license.
In April, you went in and got a new card. And
yes.
That card was an ID card, not a driver's license. And when you get an ID card, it cancels your driver's license.
I thought it was a driver's license, ma'am.
Did you go into the driver's license office April 12th?
Yes, ma'am, I might have.
Well, what they handed you then was an ID card because you were suspended and couldn't get a driver's license.
Yes, ma'am. I thought I handed when I got pulled over, I had a driver's license.
No, if you had a driver's license, that's another charge for carrying around a driver's license when you're suspended.
Because they took it, and I didn't understand why they took it.
It should have been an ID card that they took. All right, you seem very confused about many things, but your license was suspended for points and for not having an SR22. They sent you a letter in March, and they sent you a letter in May telling you that your license would be suspended. And April 12th, they handed you an ID card instead of a driver's license.
During those 2 months, I was not living at the residence on my driver's license.
The law says when you move, you must let them know the correct address. So you got a new driver's license March the 4th, and then a month later you lost it and went and got you wanted a replacement, and they gave you an ID only because you were suspended. And you didn't even realize that.
No, ma'am. I thought I had my license. I gave them my driver's license.
Okay. Why did you go into the driver's license department in April if you had just gotten a new card
Because
in
I
March?
thought I had lost my license.
Isn't that what I said? So you got a license in March, a new card, and within a month you lost it.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and you didn't bother to look at the new one you got to see that it was just an ID and not a driver's?
I think you were right. It was an identification card. I believe that's what it was. But then I found my driver's license, so therefore I thought I was just paying for an identification card. I didn't know I was paying for a driver's license.
All right, do you have a valid driver's license today?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
I have no means of transportation but to work because
How did you get here today?
my mother.
Mother, where are you? Could you stand up, please? Are you willing to take him to the driver's license department to fix all of this? All right, in order to get a valid driver's license, he has to get an SR22. He has to get more expensive
It's
insurance because his license got suspended for points.
I got a price quote for a non-policy holder, and I mean non-car holder, a policy for a non-vehicle holder, and it's not in my price range right now, but hopefully within a month I will be able to afford it in a month.
You have a prior, you don't have a valid driver's license right now. If you enter a no contest plea today, I would find you guilty of driving while license suspended. All right, it's 6 months probation. You can get off of probation as soon as the state's recommending a $200 fine. Instead of saying a $200 fine, I'm going to say proof of a valid driver's license. So there won't be a fine, but there will be the mandatory costs, which are going to be at least $300. So you have to go down to room 105 and sign up.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Miss Angie, it's going to be 6 months probation, early term upon obtaining a valid license. No fine, just the mandatory costs. He needs to be fingerprinted. Here's his print sheet, and you'll report to probation outside these double doors.
Yes, ma'am.
Okie dokie. Megan Dietch. Good morning, Miss Dietch. You are charged with a non-resident tag exemption not met. Let me back up on this one. You got your Florida driver's license in '09, and your record is perfect. But we have a tag issue. Because you live in Florida, you need a Florida tag unless you're like a snowbird, go back and forth.
Well,
what's the deal with the tag?
Well, I do go back home to Jersey a lot to take care of my stepmom, but I don't.
What kind of tag did you have on the vehicle?
New Jersey.
But you live in Florida. You only go back there to visit?
To take care of my stepmom. Like
how long?
Just off and on for like a long weekend. So it's not.
Then you live in Florida, yes. And you have to have a Florida tag.
Yes.
Do you now?
I'm working on it because I couldn't find the title to my car. So that's kind of what held me up.
But you can get stopped 5 more times today.
I know. But I am getting it.
But you're not allowed to drive with that tag on your car.
Well, I don't drive because I live across my job, so.
How'd you get here today? I drove. Oh, you got a friend? Well, that was good.
Yeah, so.
So if we continue this for 3 months, can you come in with a valid tag? State, if she comes in with a valid tag, can we change it to a civil?
Yes, Your Honor, if she just waives speedy trial, please.
Good idea. Defendants present, waive speedy trial. We're continuing it to 9, 11, 13, 8 a.m. Change to civil with valid Florida tag. If you get it fixed before September 11th and you want to take care of it at the traffic window, you should be able to do that.
Okay, great, thank you.
Wait for your paperwork. And then you also had an expired, so even the tag you had from New Jersey wasn't any good.
Well, I haven't been using the car, so it's off-road.
On the day you got caught, the tag that was on there was
Yes, ma'am.
expired.
Yes.
I'll put the same thing on this one. Dismiss with proof of Florida tag or must pay by 9/11/13. So if you get a valid Florida tag, I'll dismiss the ticket also.
Okay. All right, thank you so much.
All right, wait for your paperwork. Yes, ma'am?
Can we address?
Oh, yes, thank you. I've tormented you enough. If you want to leave it as civil, we can leave this one.
Oh, it wasn't a civil, it was just a $200 fine.
Oh, this was the no jail one.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to leave it in no jail?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. You got the second deal of the day because of an oops, okay? It's always jail if a person drives a second time on the same suspension. So you lucked out on an oops. Ms. Papula, could you read it to Miss Angie so Miss Angie can write it? I don't even want to write it. Could you?
It's an adjudication of guilt, 6 months probation with early termination upon a $200 fine and $50 cost of prosecution.
And you should throw your arms around the prosecutor and kiss her on both cheeks, but don't. Michelle Lindsey. Miss Lindsey, give me a moment to read your letter. Oh, I don't know if it's from you.
I'm sorry, what's your name?
This is Michelle Lindsey. There's a no victim contact order, and her husband would like contact. Okay, the charges are a battery, a resisting, and a disorderly intoxication. Is your husband here today?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, could you have a seat at the table, please? Miss Papula, the alleged victim is here today. Could you take a moment to talk with him?
Yes, ma'am. Are you okay with me stepping out of the courtroom, or?
That'd be fine. If there's any that I have a problem with, I'll wait till you get back to deal with it. Kyle Zipper. How old are you?
25.
You're charged with possession of marijuana and possession of paraphernalia. If you enter a no contest plea today, I would find you guilty. I'd put you on 12 months probation. You can get off of probation after $200 is paid on each count. You have a $1,000 cash bond, so as soon as if you plead, the fine is paid immediately. You must have a drug evaluation and any treatment recommended, 2 clean screens at least 30 days apart. Your license will be suspended if you don't complete the counseling.
No contest?
All right, we'll write it up as quickly as we can. Apparently, you've been in trouble before.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that's why there's no withhold.